Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. Our lead story of the day is regarding an NHL player refusing to wear a gay pride jersey, which has caused the left to completely lose their minds over it. And we got the clips to prove it. Support us by hitting that like and subscribe button, leaving us a short, sweet comment down below. If you're unsure what to write us something as simple as good morning. Your help and support would be greatly appreciated. Well, I played ice hockey for over 25 years. I played in Canada. I played college all across the United States. I still referee ice hockey to this day as a second job. So I'm very in tune with what's the culture like, what goes on behind the scenes, on and off the ice, all sorts of stuff. So we have a Flyers player here that's being questioned about why he didn't wear this gay pride jersey. And here's his response.
Everybody, I respect everybody's choices. My choice is to stay true to myself and my religion. That's all I'm going to say. Like I said, that's all I'm going to comment on that. If you have any hockey questions, I would answer those.
Can you just clarify what? Can you clarify your religion?
Russian Orthodox.
So with the game tonight, Ivan, obviously.
So simple. It goes against his religion. Said and done. Like, move on. There's no story here, you guys. He's not trying to be like Colin Kaepernick and gain the spotlight and all these things. If he were, he would continue with it, right? He's not trying to do that. He wants to be left alone. Goes against his religion, you move on. Well, it wasn't just him being questioned on this. So was head coach John Tortorella, who's a no BS type of guy. And here's his response by the press.
John, turning away from the game for a second, Ivan Provorov wasn't in warm-ups before the game. There was a report that he wasn't in warm-ups because he didn't want to wear the pride jersey for Pride Night. Do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, I think the organization has sent out a release regarding the organization, the beliefs that we have and how we feel about it, and really a great night. With Provi, he's being true to himself and to his religion. This has to do with his belief in his religion. And it's one thing I respect about Provi. He's always true to himself. And so that's where we're at with that.
Was there any consideration on your part when he chose not to wear the jersey to not play him as a result?
No. I'm not going to answer many more questions on it because I just think it's unfair. I know you're going to probably talk to Provi, but yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I think it was a great night in celebrating. Organization has put out a statement, and I'm not going to get too deep into the conversation. Those are the comments as far as Provi. We talked as a team.
So they talked as a team, you know, and they handled it behind the scenes. It wasn't like they were pushing this out in the open, you guys. This is the press and the left making something that isn't a big deal a big deal. And that's how it works with them, right? If you're not going to go with their narrative, then they're basically going to shame you in the spotlight, and they're going to do everything they possibly can to ruin your life. And that's what we're seeing happening in the NHL. They started with the trans stuff, and now they're pushing this LGBTQ gay pride stuff in there. And what's going to be next, like they have in basketball and football, which originally wasn't in hockey. So now you got it being pushed here by the NHL network, you guys. I can't tell you enough how odd and weird it is that the NHL network and the NHL just in general is pushing this LGBTQ progressive left ideology stuff all of a sudden. Like, the base of hockey is not into that whatsoever. Like, not even close. But very similar to just all these other networks, they're just going to push it here. And listen to this knucklehead and what he has to say about the whole thing.
And Ivan Provorov can get on a plane any day he wants and go back to a place where he feels more comfortable, take less money, and get on with his life that way, if it's that problematic for him. And he's been in North America for a long time. He played in the Western Hockey League. He's now been in Philadelphia for many years. If this is that much of a problem for him to maybe assimilate into his group of teammates and in the community and here in this country, that's okay. Listen, you can feel any way you want. But the beauty is, if it bothers you that much, there's always a chance to leave, go back where you feel more comfortable. I understand there's a conflict of sorts going on over there. Maybe get involved. So
it's amazing, you guys. There's a couple points here before we move on to the next clip of the leftist outrage. This is supposed to be an all-inclusive group, right? They're supposed to be welcoming. But what you find time and time again is if you go against their narrative, if you don't believe in what they believe in, they will force you to do whatever needs to be done so that you do what they tell you to do or what they believe in. So prime example is the cake shop, right? He didn't want to bake a gay or lesbian couple's cake for their wedding or whatever, and it goes against his religion. And so it got a whole blow up about this whole thing. Rather than just finding a different place to bake a cake or bake your own damn cake, now he has to be forced to bake it. This guy here has to be forced to wear a gay pride jersey even though it goes against his religion, which is amazing because you got to love the idea that that knucklehead there going, oh, well, you got to assimilate into the culture or whatever it is. If you've been following immigration politics for, I don't know, like the last 20 years, you would know that the progressive left doesn't like the word assimilation. It's a dirty word. You can't use that anymore. The censoring police says that at least. And so the same people that want a multicultural society, that want to get rid of the Judeo-Christian values that basically has brought this country to what it is, wants to remove all of that for, again, a multicultural society, not a melting pot society. They are two different things, but they're going to continue to shove this stuff down our throat any which way they can. And furthermore, it's amazing how they want to force this guy pretty much to wear a gay pride jersey. But then if you just take that logic into the corporate world and you have somebody that wants to wear a hijab, then rather than her allowing her or him to wear that hijab, you know, I don't know, you can't misgender anybody anymore. So you wear the hijab, your employer can't tell you to take it off. They can't tell you what to do, but the progressive left wants to tell you what to do when it fits their narrative. But when it goes against their narrative, they're going to force you to fit into that narrative again. Hopefully that all makes sense. I know it's just as head spinning to you as it is to me, but now we have a journalist crying on air because this person wouldn't wear a freaking pride jersey. Here we go with the antics, the theater of it all, the theatrics.
Technically, Provorov also spoke to the media after the game and echoed what Tortorella said, so I didn't feel the need to run it. This happened in baseball last year with the Tampa Bay Rays. There were 5 members of the Tampa Bay Rays who wouldn't wear a patch supporting gay rights. And Major League Baseball didn't do much. It was a story for a little bit. John Tortorella, you know, many years ago when, you know, racial injustice, and it still is till this day, but when Colin Kaepernick first started kneeling during national anthem, said anyone who does that on my team is going to sit. And he has a son who's an Army Ranger. So it's not like Tortorella in the past hasn't spoken on sensitive issues. The theme from the National Hockey League is hockey is for everyone, okay? The theme is not hockey is for everyone, ... unless you don't believe in gay rights, then do whatever you want. If the National Hockey League is going to do this, if any league is going to do this, do it properly or reevaluate what you're doing. Because there's not a lot of repercussions that I'm seeing from any league. Now, it could change with the NHL. Could change with the NHL. I think you fine the Flyers $1 million for this. I'm not kidding. Figure this out and stop offending people on nights where it's not about that. It's supposed to be about inclusivity. The National Hockey League.
You want to fine the guy $1 million because he didn't want to do something that went against his religious rights? I mean, or his faith at least? And now you want to basically force him to do something that, again, it goes against his faith? Do you see how far we've gone as a country here, you guys? This is why the left is literally trying to destroy this country from the inside out. Because they want to strip away your rights. That's so crazy to me. They're penalizing you for just following your faith.
League need to attack this and figure this out. Because what I heard last night was offensive and didn't make any sense. Because, for instance, if that was a military night, okay?
Right.
If anyone in Canada or in the States on a military appreciation night wouldn't wear a jersey pregame, do you have any idea the uproar that would have happened on that? Do you have any idea the backlash? Do you have any idea what happened on social media? It's
So don't do a military night. I'm fine with that. Again, I am super pro-military. Then don't do a military night. I'm 100% okay with that. I'm there to watch hockey. That's all I'm there to watch. I don't need the military and the veteran stuff. I'm for doing the national anthem before the game. But look, I just want to watch a hockey game. I don't need the LGBTQ+. I don't need the military stuff in there. I don't need all this stuff. I am there just to watch a damn game. That's what sports is for. Historically, literally, that's what sports is for. To get away from the craziness of everything. But as I keep mentioning, the left want to shove this stuff down your throat, and they will force feed it to you guys. That's why they are so dangerous. They keep talking about the ultra MAGA, MAGA this, MAGA that. The progressive left are one of the most dangerous people in this country because they will make sure they put in policy that will force you to do things that go against the very rights that were established by our creator.
Ridiculous what would have happened.
It was just a minute ago we were talking about the uproar that was happening with FIFA fever, where if you were seen with so much as a rainbow anywhere, you had to fear for your life, imprisonment, or death.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, and now here we are.
I just think the NHL has to do something here. This is not good enough. This is not good enough. Hockey is for everyone, ... unless you don't agree with gay rights is not the phrasing of this. You're either in this or you're not. And one last point. Nothing scares me more than any human being who says, I'm not doing this because of my religious beliefs. Because when you looked at people's lives who normally say that publicly, you'd throw up at what you saw. You would throw up at what you saw. And I have seen that a million times in a lot of different ways. So don't give me that. With respect. Don't give me that, because no one's perfect. All right? Don't feed me the religious beliefs line. And all of a sudden the NHL is going to back off this. The National Hockey League today needs to find that organization $1 million and reevaluate how they support gay rights. Because that is insulting. That is the #1 trending topic in Canada. That is insulting what happened in Philadelphia. And if the NHL's serious about this, they say they are, we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see how serious they are today. But that whole thing was mishandled, and part of me couldn't believe it. Part of me could, considering how the NHL sometimes handles things.
And it's too important, and that's why you're continuing to talk about it.
Folks, the guy just didn't want to wear the jersey I think it was just during warm-ups. That's all it was. I don't even think they wore it the entire game. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But the guy was like, hey, it goes against my faith, so I'm just not going to wear it. He wasn't making a big uproar about it. I mean, literally, if some people might have never even just caught on, the guy wasn't even on the ice. It wasn't like they're making this whole grandstanding parade about the thing. The guy was like, look, it just went against my faith. I'll answer any hockey question. I just want to move on. It's not a big deal. I'm not bashing anybody. I'm not being disrespectful to the community. I'm not being disrespectful to gay people or anything. It just goes against my faith. I just don't want to wear it. But this is what they're going to do. They're going to force you guys, that the left is the most dangerous people out there in this country by far. By far. Now, moving into our second story of the day, we got the man, the myth, the legend. No, not Peter Ducey this time, folks, but Ron DeSantis of Florida stepping in, and he will not tolerate what's going on regarding ESG scores with regards to the retirement system in the state of Florida. As always, support us by hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave us a short, sweet comment down below. It really does support the channel, folks. If you're unsure, again, what to say, just write something as far as good morning, or you're pro-Trump, you're pro-Biden, or you're pro-Ron DeSantis. Just something, folks, because they really want to see you interacting with the channel, so your help and support would be greatly appreciated. Well, Florida Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, and I really do think this is a big story, you guys, approves measures on Tuesday to prevent the Florida Retirement System pension plan from investing in accordance with environmental, social, and corporate governance movement, also known as ESG. So ESG is fairly a new concept in the sense of you have these elitists and these elites from Bravos and other areas, or rather Davos, forgive me, implementing this whole environmental regime change, which is called the Great Reset, where based on your carbon footprint, they want to correlate that to a score, very similar to your credit score. If you basically borrow money, you don't pay it back in a certain amount of time, it equates to a score that shows you how good you are at borrowing and paying somebody back. Well, they want to do that on a environmental level with an ESG score that basically shows your carbon footprint, how much you're basically polluting. And if you're going to put investments in that, there's an opportunity for those investments not to go through, where somebody says, look, either I'm not going to pay it out to you, I'm not going to allow you to invest in it, I see your carbon footprint, maybe you're only going to get 20% of that investment that we owe you. We can just completely get rid of lending practices for you and your business. So this goes way deeper, you guys. It's actually scary stuff. This comes from the Great Reset. And probably like 5 years ago, if you brought up to me about ESG scores or environmental scores that are within the corporate and banking system, I would have thought, it's a conspiracy theory. Not anymore, you guys. Reading multiple books on this stuff, listening to the knuckleheads from Davos, right? The ones that basically want to rule the world. This is getting closer and closer every year to becoming a reality. According to DeSantis' office, the approval of the resolution will ensure that public fiduciaries invest state funds in a manner that prioritizes the highest return on investment for Florida's taxpayers and retirees without considering the ideological agenda of the ESG movement. Critics say the philosophy confuses profit maximization with political and social agendas, such as reducing carbon emissions or promoting racial equity. Corporations across America continue to inject an ideological agenda throughout our country and economy rather than through the ballot box. Today's actions reinforce that ESG considerations will not be tolerated here in Florida. Again, this comes from Ron DeSantis. and I look forward to extending these protections during this legislative session. The resolution mandates that investment decisions must be based only on precautionary factors that exclude the considerations of the furtherance of social, political, and ideological interest, and adds that the State Board of Administration may not sacrifice investment return or take on additional investment risk to promote any non-precautionary factors. DeSantis proposed measures for the new Florida legislature that would bar financial institutions, this is mega here, folks, would bar financial institutions from discriminating against consumers for their religious, political, and social beliefs, as well as prohibit ESG rankings or scores from preventing residents from accessing financial services. So there's going to be a score, and there already is. You guys might already have one yourself that institutions are utilizing. This is corporations, the banking system, and it shows basically your carbon footprint. And the idea is that it's going to move forward and track all your spending. It's going to track your energy consumption. It's going to track your pollution. And it's going to create a score based on that basket that we just talked about. And that basket of pollution or environmental ability to alter whatever's taking place out there in the ether, like you buying gas, you having an electric vehicle, you having solar panels on your house. I mean, whatever it is going to create that score, and that score is going to impact your life greatly. It might stop you from getting a loan from the bank. It might stop you from being able to finance a car, to getting a certain mortgage rate. I mean, the amount of impact that they're talking that this is going to have is going to make your head spin. And it is freaking one of the scariest things I've heard of in a while. Quote, I and my fellow trustees have an obligation to make responsible investment decisions on behalf of the beneficiaries we represent, not cater to woke corporate executives trying to force political ideology. This is a great quote, and this comes from Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody. Through this action today, we will continue to fight back against ESG agendas that put partisan ideology ahead of financial returns for Florida's retirees. Basically, what they're also saying, and the great analogy to all this would be what you see with Disney. There was the leaked footage of Disney's executives talking about how they want to continue to push the LGBTQ plus agenda, the woke agenda, by having a certain amount of trans people be lead characters and gay people and all this other stuff. And they're willing to take a loss on that, you guys, to push that agenda, which we've seen. Same thing here. These institutions and corporations are willing to take a loss on all this stuff and hurt you at the end of the day just to push an agenda. And Ron DeSantis recognizes where things are going, because it's going to happen, you guys. It's already being pushed out there. Again, banks are already utilizing this, where it's going to impact your retirement negatively, and they don't give it to. So a lot of stuff is going on here. I hope you're paying attention, because I'm doing an okay job of explaining this all. We haven't done a full story on it. Maybe I should just do a full-length video on the Great Reset and ESG. But thank God you got Ron DeSantis, one of the few governors here, waking up to the whole thing, going, this is a very, very bad direction we're going in. We got to stop it now. The actions from DeSantis come 1 month after the Florida Treasury divested $2 billion from asset management company BlackRock, a leading proponent of the ESG movement. Florida CFO Jimmy Pontras informed BlackRock CEO Larry Fink that the state needs partners within the financial services industry who are as committed to the bottom line as we are, and added that the state would be taking its business elsewhere. The divestment was among the largest such efforts from other state governments, led by Republican officials who have contended that prominent asset managers' voting priorities, such as pressuring portfolio companies to transition away from fossil fuels, constitute the mismanagement of public assets. So again, ESG score, we're talking environment here. They're trying to move investment priorities, which would be good to invest in, away from fossil fuel, where you'll probably take a hit on a transition of energy, say clean energy, and maybe have a lower return than you would if you were at a fossil fuel portfolio. But because they don't want fossil fuels to be out there, they're going to screw you over in the long run by going over to a different portfolio that's not going to have the same growth as that fossil fuel portfolio would be. Hopefully I'm making sense, and I'm not treating you as you being dumb. I'm just trying to be as clear as possible with what's going on here. Well, BlackRock has taken voting action on climate issues, as you could imagine, against dozens of portfolio companies, according to an investment stewardship report, leading some officials to note that such activism could raise nationwide energy prices. You think we all want clean energy, you guys. We all want clean air. It has to be done over a course of time. You just can't start forcing this stuff like you're freaking Mao with the Great Leap Forward, because there's consequences to all this. Big consequences, and that consequences in this term right here, what we're talking about, is your retirement, but there's also consequences of increasing inflation. The cost of energy could go up. I mean, there's a lot of negative things that are going to happen, especially when you're moving to clean energy and not in the right way of which the left wants to do. The right says, hey, clean energy, let's talk nuclear. Let's go that route. They don't want to do that. Nuclear is one of the cleanest energies you could possibly do other than wind and solar. And by the way, wind and solar isn't as great as the left makes it out to be, but that's for another episode. Republican state treasurers divested some $12 billion from BlackRock just last year. Fink said that the World Economic Forum, that Davos stuff I was telling you about with these elites, that skepticism towards the ESG movement has become personal, and said opponents of the philosophy are seeking to demonize the issues. Very leftist, basically wording there, right? They're demonizing the issues. If you don't go with their flow, folks, you're demonizing them. The comments came days after Elon Musk quipped on social media that the S in ESG stands for satanic, and he ain't far off, you guys. If you don't know anything about this and you want to learn more, let me know in the comments below, and I'm willing to do a full-length video or maybe even go live and have a full conversation about ESG scores, the Great Reset, and where we're moving towards, because it is terrifying, you guys. It really, and I'm not just trying to scare you. It's terrifying for me to hear what's going on with this whole movement here from Davos and these elites there in other parts of the world that are pushing this climate change, this climate agenda upon all of us. But I want to know what you think about all this in the comments below. Do you think Ron DeSantis is making a good move here? I think he is, but I want to know what you think. As always, support us by hitting that like and subscribe button. Hope you have a lovely weekend. Be on the lookout for our Supernatural Saturdays tomorrow, where we take one day out of the week to step aside from the politics, the craziness of the world, and dive into the unexplained, the paranormal, and the supernatural. With that being said, folks, I will see you tomorrow here on The Paul Brad Show.